for 1986, pitting Doc Sox versus the Brew Crew. For those of you that haven't been with us, let's give you a little bit of history. The Brew Crew won the winner's bracket of the tournament, and had the Doc Sox came up to the losers bracket and just handed the Brew Crew their first defeat in the first of the championships game. Now we go to the final. Paul Tully's leading off for Doc Sox, and very quickly will set the defense for the Brew Crew. Whoop. After Ricky Anastasi throws out Paul Tully. The battery consists of Ray Prather behind the plate and Doug Crean starting at pitcher. Tom McNamara is at first base, Donnie Mitchell at second. Joe Eaton is at shortstop, Ricky Anastasi at third. Out in left field, Kenny Moltz, Bobby Webster in left center, Mike Carter Jr. in right center, and Steve Lombell in right field. Second up to bat for Doc Sox, David Berry. Eddie, what do you think they've got to do this game?
Well, obviously they've just got to get right down and play softball. You mentioned that they lost the first game that they played, and it was a big loss to them, 17-7. And this is ball's well hit, but Kenny's got a beat on that for the second out. What they've got to do is, get themselves back on ground and forget about that first game. Just play the kind of ball they can, and we're going to see us a fine softball game this evening.
Now batting, Jay McCarl.
I'll catch that. I'm sorry. As you mentioned, there's Jay with a base hit up the center. It was a tough loss for the Brew Crew in a lot of ways. It was more than just a loss. It wasn't a 9-7 loss or something. It was one of these debilitating kind of blowout jobs. Now batting for Doc Sox, up hitter Carl Anderson the third. Carl having a great year. Doc Sox really showed off their power last game, hitting a couple of home runs at least, I believe 3 if I'm not mistaken. David Berry with a pair of them. Doug Green trying to show him a little bit of something different there, hopping around a bit on the mound.
Oh, I might mention we've got a realignment of the umpiring. Tom Love has assumed the plate, and Jim Myrick is now in the field umpiring the bases with Steve Beckham. Carl Anderson the third. Takes a little swing and he pops it up.
Straight up in the air.
Joe Eaton making a ballet-type catch that only he can do so well to retire the sides.
Well, interestingly enough, a couple of things there. First of all, it's a big boost to the Brew Crew to get out of that first inning with nothing across. Faced the top 4 in that order, just giving up a base hit to McCall. I do see a little change equipment-wise. Joe Eaton has donned a camouflage cap, and he made that last play spectacularly, checking out there to nab that pop fly. I'm not sure whether that new cap had anything to do with it, but certainly Joe is playing with a great deal of authority out there this game. Leading off for the Brew Crew, left center fielder Bob Webster.
Bobby Webster discusses tactics with umpire Tom Love. Let's set the defense for you very quickly. Pitching John Heiser, catching Johnny Mitchell. First base Jim Weisgerber. Second base Roland Hoke. Shortstop David Berry. Third base Wayne Matheson. Around the outfield Paul Tully in left, Jay McCarl in left center, Carl Anderson the third in right center, and I have a little trouble seeing out that far.
I think it's Dave Daly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. Dave Daly in right field.
It is a little dark out there. I will say that, in market confidence, as soon as the game was over, we asked for lineups from the captains, and Jay McCall said, "I'm not changing a thing." And that's exactly what Jay's hoping to do, is to come right back with the same squad. Bobby starting out with a fly ball to the left center fielder. The third baseman, Rick Anastasi.
Ricky's got to get on and let some of these hitters like Kenny Moltz, get some runs across. If the Brew Crew doesn't score first and put some runs on the board, well, obviously they've got to score to win. But what I'm saying is I really feel they've got to be on the offensive.
Very good point, Bill. I think that's exactly what they need to do. Coming back from a loss like that, it shouldn't destroy you. These guys are players. They're not 15-year-old kids. They're all grown men, even though they do wear short pants out there, most of them. But the fact is that these guys recognize that every dog will have his day. But they've got to come back, and it really is going to help them greatly if they can get on the board first. The left fielder, Ken Moltz.
Well, you just notice that when a team starts to put a lot of hits together and then they all start swinging with a lot of confidence, what I'm saying is I think that the Brew crew can generate that same type of confidence in their own lineup and then cause the green team, on the other hand, to become a little more tentative and maybe push themselves a little bit.
Oh, no, I couldn't agree with you more, Bill. I really believe that. I think that would really be the biggest plus for these guys, if they could get ahead and start to think positively, because those negative feelings always tend to linger. You know, you get behind a little bit and you start to worry and you try and press, and I think that again, is what bothers most people. Despite the blackout, and I'm not sure what caused it, did have a pole go down. David Berry still makes the routine play, retires Kenny Moltz 6-3, and at the end of one, we have it's a 0-0 game.
My goodness, a championship series just fraught with mishap. I tell you what, we've never had more technical difficulties and things go wrong in as long as I can remember.
Yeah. I do think that we probably will think in terms of hiring a new engineering crew for next season. These guys' contracts about ready to run out anyway. And but naturally the elements have been against us. It took a real effort on everybody's part to come down here and get these games in, because about 3 o'clock I don't think anybody thought we had a chance of playing. We had rain, we had mud on the field. It was just a real discouraging type atmosphere. But everybody dug in, everybody persevered a little bit, and luckily we are getting it in. And you just hate to postpone these kind of, because you know, in this type situation, you don't know what next week is going to bring.
I'd like to take this brief lapse again for those of you that weren't with us last game to express the sincere thanks on behalf of the Men's League and the Boys and Girls Club to the Parking Planning Commission for this fine new facility that they've installed for us, and also thanks very, very much to the members and the wives and family members of the Men's League that have contributed their time and effort so generously to provide the field decorations and all the service and the picnic, etc.
Now batting for Doc Sox, the third baseman, Wayne Matheson. Turn it off a second.
Wayne Matheson hit the ball. That ball is gone. That's the second shot of the series for Wayne Matheson.
Wayne Matheson.
I think he's been blessed this day. This is Wayne's day today.
Wayne's having a great day. He's having a great day, and I'll tell you, that's one of the worst things that could happen to these guys. The power is what crushed them in the first game. I mean, Doc Sox hit the ball well, but it was those 3 or 4 home runs that you just can't defend against. You're really helpless, and for Doc Sox to start this way is got to make the Brew crew just a little bit nervous.
Well,
now batting the right fielder, Dave Daly.
I think they got to be happy though that it was a solo blast. Nobody on and nobody hurt, as they say.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Dave Daly hits the ball deeper than expected, but Bobby Webster makes the catch without too much difficulty.
Nice play by Bob. Going back that way, catching it against the grain. He turned right first, came back and caught the ball over his shoulder. Very nice play. And here we have Mike Carter, I guess. Now batting for Doc Sox, Mike Carter Sr. Here's one of the interesting father and son combinations. Father and son on 2 different teams, playing for the championships. Playing for the championship. Both important players to their teams. Mike Carter Sr., who obviously is older than his son, but doesn't play it, doesn't look it out there. I mean, Mike hits the ball well, runs, feels, looks like a young kid out there. Really a fine guy and a real tribute to the league. You know, one thing that struck me last game too is that Doc Sox was able to draw several walks against And that's something that the Brew Crew simply cannot allow. With these home run hitters, the one thing you don't want to do is put anybody on ahead of the power. And they've just got to be real cautious about walking anybody, Bill.
Looks like he's even trying to squeeze it out of him, too, I'll tell you.
He sure is. He sure is. Well, Mike's a smart hitter. When he sees the pitcher having a little problems, he's going to, force him to deliver. And he does. He forces the count full now.
Carter steps out, gets set, full count. Ball up. Kenny Molt should make this play without too much trouble.
Once again, Kenny playing him just perfectly.
So that's 2 down. That'll bring up Jim Weisgerber.
Now batting, the people's choice, Jim Weisgerber. Jim, popularly known as the people's choice around town for his many civic contributions. Well known both in Berwyn Heights and downtown Washington, along with College Park. Oh, superb
Nice play by
Ricky Anastasia. Superb
Nice play. So, Brew Crew manages to keep Doc Sox only down to 1 run. Maybe that won't be the tone of the game. I should say that Doc Sox scores 1 as we go into the bottom of the 2nd inning. Back at in between games, evaluated the situation, decided it would be a war and don the appropriate headgear.
That's possible. That's possible. It's also possible he looked at the tapes of the first game and didn't like the shadows of his eyebrows. But we're going to find out whether it does him any good. We have had a technical malfunction. The second pole down the right field line is out. We're not sure whether this is going to create any real problems for any of these ball players as yet. We've had an inning go by, I guess, without any serious difficulty, but that possibly will have an impact. Fortunately, we have Steve Beckham alertly on the job down there at first base at umpire.
Oh, Joe has tagged that one. That ball may be out of here. Joe Eaton, Tomahawks.
Home run, Joe Eaton.
So, Eddie, we've got to ask ourselves, there
Joe
must be more to the headgear than we've been.
Clearly, it's an artillery cap, and Joe rolled up the big guns for that one. Obviously, it's a... Joe rolls up the heavy artillery, yanks one out of the yard, and the score is tied 1-2, Bill, and that's the way for this Brew Crew to answer. Now batting for the Brew Crew, Mike Carter Jr.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Eddie.
And here is Mrs. Carter's second favorite player.
And it's a good shot by Mike Carter right up the middle, so he'll be
I'll tell you, these guys are starting to deliver, and you got to like the way these guys are bouncing back. They're playing with enthusiasm. They're coming right back. First baseman, Tom McNamara.
I've played a lot of years with Tom McNamara, and I know what's going through this man's mind at this point. But I think he's going to exhibit some good sense and try and hit the ball where it's best. But I tell you, if this man gets a pitch in his wheelhouse, I think you'll see it go out of here.
You're right. If this guy gets his pitch, Bill, he's just going to send it bye-bye. You've had a lot of experience, as you mentioned, with Tom. Tom is one of the original Orange Crush fellas. A lot of great years with him. Hard ground ball to shortstop. That was a fine play by David Berry to get that a lot closer than we might have thought it was going to be.
Boy, I tell you, that Tom McNamara brings me back to the days of John Green sliding into first base. Man, I tell you, that's what they need, though. They need this.
Now batting for the Brew Crew, Bill Keane. Bill is having a real good season.
You gotta like this guy.
Good year. Oh, gives it 110%. Hits the ball hard, and you talk about intensity. I don't care whether it's the first or the fifth inning, whether he's up 10 or down 10. He plays the game 100%. He really does.
Continues to hit the ball good, and Little Bear can't even get his hands on that one. Tom McNamara says, never even thought twice about it.
I'll tell
you what, these guys are out to score. That's what it takes.
No question about it. Outstanding hustle. part.
You notice how that ball died so quick in the outfield grass. I hope they're paying attention to that right now. You hit the ball down, you better
Now
be on top of it.
batting, Steve Lombell. First and third, only one out. This is a big situation for these guys. They can really turn this into a major inning if they get an opportunity here. One base hit.
Steve Lombell driving the ball back. It's over Jay's head.
It's over Jay's head, yes.
Tom McNamara will score. Bill Keene is coming around to third. He'll hold there, and they have no play. Stand-up double, Steve Lombell. So the Brew Crew has already put 2 runs on the board, and they got runners at second and third with none out, and that brings up.
Now batting for the Brew Crew, Don Mitchell.
Donnie Mitchell. So let's see if he can keep that string going.
Well, that's what these guys have to do, and I'll tell you, Steve really hit that ball hard. Jay might have been playing him a shade too short, but he really did rope that ball. And I'll tell you, Steve has surprising power. He's, again, one of these young fellas that we talked about. A good athlete, take a while to develop into a softball player. Let's see if we tag. Keene's going. No, and they don't make the play. Maybe a wise play. I will say, though, Bill, that's an interesting play where they didn't go to home plate. When you have a 10 or 11 run lead, you can afford to take that kind of chance, just keep the runners in order. But you wonder at what point do you say these guys have enough? That's the third run this inning, and they don't want to get too far behind.
Well, I think that Jay.
Now batting, Ray Prather.
I think that Jay realized it would have been an awful tough play, and he didn't want to risk Steve Lombell getting around in the third.
Keene is not the kind of guy you're going to throw out at the plate often. I would say you're going to have to make a standing throw. There's going to have to be a real, and even then, it's going to be a hard play to make. Wayne Matheson once again.
So, Brew Crew ends up scoring 3 runs. So after the bottom of 2, the score is 3-1, 3-1 Brew Crew. We'll be right back. So in the top of the third, the Brew Crew puts the same field out, and batting first for Doc Sox will be Roland Hoke, the second baseman. I think this game is much more indicative of the way these two teams have played all season. I mean, Brew Crew comes out and scores, and I think they've just taken a slight edge off the momentum that the Doc Sox had in that last game. Let's see if Doc Sox can get something back here.
Well, this will be a big inning for them. The first time they've really been behind all day today. They have the bottom of the order, but good hitters down here. We have Roland Hoke, Jim Brocker, and John Mitchell, all of whom have had good days. Johnny Heiser hitting last, naturally, as a second leadoff hitter, and then the top of the order. Now, if these guys can get something going, it'll really be a big plus for them. Roland hits it a little high, though.
Have to keep that ball down if they're going to want to make something happen or hit it hard. That was kind of a wristy hit by Roland.
Now batting for Doc Sox, Jim Brocker. That's not Roland's stroke. Roland likes to get the ball down a couple of feet over the pitcher's head. He likes to hit that low line drive. And I'll tell you, this could be a surprise. I think Jim
Brocker's hitting the ball awful good.
That's going to the fence, Bill. That's going to the fence. It'll be at least 2 and maybe 3. I'm not sure whether the coaches pulled up Brock or his heart just told him that was the place to quit.
Brock pulled himself up.
Yeah, I think Jimmy...
and a good move, too. No sense to gamble.
A double by Jim Brocker. Now batting for Doc Sox, John Mitchell. And maybe that's the spark that these guys needed. Jimmy Brocker taking advantage. Drawn in outfield, trying to cut off that base hit. Hits a sharp line drive between Ken Moltz and Bobby Webster, which rolls to the fence, and Jimmy B pulls up with a solid double.
I tell you, the man's earning his pay today. There's no doubt about it.
Jim, unfortunately, has a real difficult time getting to a lot of these games because of distances. He makes a real effort, and he has really contributed. Today, he's been a real spark plug for these guys. Lit up and continued many, many rallies throughout the day. John Mitchell being real selective in here. He's going to force Doug Green to put it right down the hole. And that's two, and John's not happy about that.
He's going to have to backs out of the box, but he's got to come up swinging now. There's no doubt about that.
He does. He does. Very selective hitter, John is. Tries to emulate Ricky Henderson in that zone crouch. Yeah, John takes
got
a
more nerve
one.
than I got.
Got
to be swinging here. And he is.
And I don't know that John really swung with the best pitch he was going to see there. That might have been a little low, but once again, like you say, he didn't have much choice. Here's John Heiser. Now batting, the pitcher, John Heiser.
Well, they got two down. It'd be a shame for him to strand Jim out there after he hit that great double. See what Heiser can do.
You know what will be interesting now is will David Berry want to send him on a clean base hit with two out? Now we know Jim Brocker will be running on any kind of ball that's hit out there.
Oh boy, that's hit deep. No, Mike Carter there.
Reachable.
So that's the end of that inning.
By Mike Carter, so
We'll never know. We'll never know.
Jim Brocker's double goes for naught.
So at the end of 3, the score remains
2.5.
I'm sorry. At the end of 2.5,
3-1.
3-1, Brew Crew. Well, we managed to restore our lights,
Somebody else to start,
and so we've got full capacity back on the lights.
Exactly.
As we head into the bottom half of the 3rd inning, we have Russell Grimes leading off for the Brew Crew.
Now batting for the Brew Crew, the catcher, Russell Grimes.
Ball's hit. Dave Daly, no problem making the play. The defensive lineman for the Dock Sox right now is Paul Tully in left field, Jay McCarl in left center. Dave Daly has switched to right center, and Jim Brocker is now in right field.
For the Brew Crew, the pitcher, Doug Green.
Also in a move that I don't believe we've seen this year, Carl Anderson has been switched into second base. And Jim Weisgerber is back at first.
They did play Carl 1 inning last game, if I'm not mistaken, Bill, at second, and he did handle 1 or 2 chances without error. I don't know that that's Carl's best natural position, but Carl, being a good athlete, I think can play just about anywhere in the infield or outfield.
Mm-hmm.
David Berry just snaps that one up. Well hit ball, but the leadoff batter for the Brew Crew.
What?
Left center fielder, Bob Webster.
5 teams in one. Bobby Webster up to bat with 1 down.
You know, since the franchise organization has taken effect, I guess, which is 4 years ago now, that looks like an easy one for John Heiser. Neither one of these teams.
3 outs now.
Yeah, neither one of these teams has won a championship. Naturally, many of these teams are, what would you say, mutants. of other squads that have performed in the past. Certainly the Brew Crew is a takeoff on the good old boys, and Captain Roy and the Tugs, as we mentioned earlier, was declared a public health hazard by the FDA. The Doc Sox earlier appeared as the Black Plague about year 4 before.
Well, I think I'd retract that statement on the air, Eddie. I would have to label Doc Sox their own entity.
Their own entity. Yeah, it's true. Some of the major performers did play on the Black Plague, but I believe that the character of the team has changed, at least. Let's say that over the years. So both of these guys are pretty much out after their first championship, though, I guess is what I'm saying, Bill. And it's going to be a big night for whoever can hang out the longest.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the Doc Sox have been to the championship the last 3 years running, and only to be pushed away in the 2 years. So they're vying for the championship crown. On the other hand, the Brew Crew is consistently
the leadoff hitter, left fielder, Paul Tully.
Is consistently in the hunt, and they of course are very hungry also.
Head.
Paul Tully has hit his ball a long way back to the fence in right field. He's going to go for 3 and make it with very little problem. Stand up triple, Paul Tully.
Tully has done the same thing year after year after year. He's the kind of guy that contributes, and he makes the big play. That's what these guys need to start him right here. Paul Tully leads off the inning with a triple, top of the order. David Berry coming up here, guy that's hit the ball just tremendously well this evening. A chance that this is the tying run right at the plate now. All of a sudden, the Brew Crew's lead doesn't seem quite as big as it did just a little bit ago, and Tully, I think, is really going to light a spark for these guys. Well, we have an appeal. We have an appeal here. They're appealing that he missed second base. Umpire Beckham right on top of it. No question at all in his mind. Signified that he clearly had touched the base.
Let's see if David Berry can continue his hitting spree.
The number 2 batter, shortstop, David Berry.
The ball is hard and down, and Paul Tully will score with ease. Kenny's arm holds him to a single.
I tell you, Bill, even though it only is a single, that's about as hard as you're going to hit the ball in this league. The guy just hits a rope. If it's not in your glove, it's a base hit. The number 3 hitter, left center fielder, Jay McCall. And now the tying run is at first base. The lead run at the plate. Naturally, it's early. It's only the 4th inning to be talking in these terms. But I think we are talking about momentum swings as much as lead swings right here. I think that the Brew Crew really doesn't want to fall behind in this game after the problems that they had last time. Jay tempted to go after that one, wasn't he, Bill?
Yeah.
You talk about a bad ball hitter. Here's a guy that takes pitches that other people don't even look at and really drills them.
Like that ball is gone. Don't even bother. Bobby goes right out of the fence trying to catch it. My goodness, that was a tremendous blast by Jay McCall.
It sure was. And we talk about bad ball hitting. I mean, there's a guy that takes a pitch, got to be a good 6 inches out of the strike zone, and just really rips it. And you know, you have to wonder what's going through the Brew Crew's mind. Joe Eaton is adjusting his combat cap out there, I think. A couple of these other guys are having second thoughts. And after that big blow that knocks him, Doug Green looks a little shaken on the man. They're talking to Doug. I'm not sure exactly what, a little upset. But how would you like to have to do that? And even, here's worse, they're going to throw in a new ball, and here comes Carl Anderson III. Now, you know, you talk about problems, you talk about emotional peaks and valleys. This has got to be a tough one to get past. Now batting for Doc Sox, Carl Anderson III.
But still, you know, they can't let him get down. This is a ball game. I mean,
oh, no question about it.
they just got to stay tight on this thing.
These guys got the hammer. They're the home team. They're only down a run. I mean, that's exactly all of those things. They should be talking positively. They should be talking right now that they're in the driver's seat. And I have the feeling that they just don't look as good as they did just an inning ago. These guys have to believe in themselves. Uh-oh. That's high. That's deep.
That ball is also out of
Forget
here. You can
about it.
count on it. Boy, that kid can hit the ball.
Now we're talking 2 home runs in a row. I don't know how long it's going to take him to get that one, but I have the feeling we're going to see a new ball. And now here comes Wayne, the smasher, Matheson. I mean, here's a guy that's on a roll. This guy is one.
I've just been informed by Coach Jay McCarl that John Mitchell has been scratched on the lineup due to a previous injury.
Yeah,
Let's hope that Johnny recovers and is okay.
John took that tumble coming around third base. We knew he was playing hurt. I know he had some difficulties, and hopefully John will recover. Now batting for Doc Sox, the third baseman, Wayne Matheson. How many out? None.
I still say that this Green team, and if you watch them as they play, they're having a good time out there. They're having a good time, and it's sort of like that the team is just
they're
under the gun, so
hard.
to speak.
Yeah.
But
Well, now that one's going to change something, I think.
boy, that's got a long way to
it
go.
won't either. I think that hit the chalk.
Yep.
That hit the chalk, and it's got to be a double. And I'll tell you, everything seems to be going right for these guys. You say they're having fun, but how would you like to have an inning that reads triple, single, home run, double? I mean, that's the kind of game that you enjoy playing, you enjoy coaching, you enjoy running, and it's also the kind of game that when you're out there playing defense, you say to yourself, what do we got to do to get these guys out?
I'm starting to think, Eddie.
Now batting, Dave Daly.
I'm starting to think that if we don't award the MVP trophy to Wayne Matheson, my tires might go flat on my car, and my toilet might back up or something like that.
Or one of us is liable to be hit by lightning, I would think, yeah.
I'll tell you.
And good hustle, Wayne pulls into third base after Dave's long fly ball.
I tell you, that guy's having a night. Mike Carter Sr.
Now batting for Doc Sox, Mike Carter Sr. Mike also having a real good night. Mike's done a little bit of everything for these guys tonight. I think he's played some first base. He's caught some. He did pitch the first game for them earlier when they played Tom Love's Tar Heels. So Mike is a very versatile player. Mike has the ability to go either way. He's not doesn't hit with the power that he might have a couple of years back, but he can go to right field. He'll put the ball right down the left field line. Yeah, I think that. And there's a line drive base hit. Scores Wayne Matheson. And these guys, in an inning like this, you start to talk to yourself, what do we have to do to get these guys out? Now batting for Doc Sox, jumping Jim Weisgerber.
Well, they've got 5 of them back. That makes the ball game, 6-3 now.
It does.
And there's another base hit. These guys are just hitting the ball.
They are stroking it.
And Mike,
and Wise with it right on the money. Uh-oh. Throw a little bit off.
Oh, no.
And Wise is going to second base.
Mike
And yet, now that's the kind of thing that got them in so much trouble last game, is that throwing the ball around. Solid base hit by Jimmy Weisgerber, but again, the throw a little bit off center. Now batting for Doc Sox, Roland Hoke. Once they start throwing the ball around, you start to see those errors. It just really becomes discouraging. And wait a minute now. We're looking at maybe another potential pitching change. Bob Webster coming in. Doug Green just doesn't seem to have the answer right here.
So, I guess Bobby's going to bring himself in.
He is. He's going to put Mike Carter out there in left center field, it looks like. 1 down.
I think that he wants to control the destiny of this team. If they're going to lose, he's going to be throwing them.
6. I got 6, right? 6-3. 6-3, right? Right? Yeah, Carter hasn't scored. Oh, wait a minute. Did Carter score? No, Carter's still on third base, right? Yeah. Now entering the game at pitcher, Bob Webster. Replacing Bob in left center field, Mike Carter Jr. The score is Doc Sox 6, Brew Crew 3.
Now the outfield for for the Brew Crew is Kenny Moltz in left, Mike Carter Jr. in left center, Donnie Mitchell in right center, and Steve Lombell in right field. the ball back to the pitcher, and Russell can't quite hold on to it. Mike Hartle will score, and Roland will advance to second.
Well, I'll tell you, you talk about it goes down as a fielder's choice. Roland doesn't get a base hit on that. But you talk about a play that's indicative of the problems that these guys are having. That's it. Trying to maybe do a little bit too much. Trying to throw out Mike at home plate. They give up a run. Even worse than that, they wind up with runners at second and third. They get no out at all. Here's Jim Braca, who doubled his last time up. And these guys are really reaching. I just have the feeling that the Brew Crew is on the wrong side of the hill, Bill.
Well, we may be a little premature in that, but we'll see. I don't know. You could be right. Obviously, the momentum doesn't seem to be with them.
Again, I'm not even trying to predict the winner here as much as I'm trying to predict the momentum. A great catch by Kenny Moltz. A great catch by Kenny Moltz.
Jim Weisgerber scores, though. So there's two-way now.
Now batting for Doc Sox, the pitcher, John Heiser.
And Roland Hoke at second base.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I think, like I say, that missing that play at the plate is just the kind of thing that goes wrong when things are going wrong. You know, it's hard to talk. Momentum is a funny thing in this game, obviously. Oh, a great play by Ricky
that really was.
Oh,
very
smooth as silk. Smooth as silk. I like that one.
Well, this great team going to have to reach down a little bit. The Brew Crew's got to come back with an answer here, or I think they may just slam the door on it right in their face.
Yeah, it's 8-3, and excuse me, 8-3, and
Leading off in the bottom of the fourth, it will be Ricky Anastasi. So let's see if he can keep his momentum going after a beautiful defensive play. Let's see if he can come back with an offensive spark to get this gray team back in this thing. They're by no means, I don't mean to imply they're out of it, they're by no means out of it. They've got to chip away at the lead real quick.
Well, they certainly have the ability to play with these guys. I just really have to worry about their mental state. I think one of the toughest things is to be in that winner's bracket and lose the first game, Bill. I think that's
ball's
well
hit deep.
I think that's out of here.
Count that one.
That's out of here.
So Ricky Anastasi.
Home run, Ricky Anastasi.
There's the answer we were looking for.
Yeah, it sure is. That's the kind of thing that hopefully is going to light these guys up and get them right back in the ball game. Naturally, you try not to root for any particular team. You just really want to see a good ball game. But I think that, as I was mentioning, when you're in that winner's bracket and you lose that first game, Bill, there's just this tremendous letdown. You know, you've lost a game. You've been sitting. You're cold. The other team is hot. They've won one or two in a row, and they just play with so much more enthusiasm.
Very, very tough to come back. Besides, it's the old thing. Because the other team has got nothing to lose and everything to gain, and they just come at you. I know that last year when our team came out of the same situation, and our attitude was, you know, we're glad we're here. Let's go out and have a good time.
That's exactly right.
So.
And you mentioned last year, truly one of the great. Now batting for the Brew Crew, left fielder Ken Moltz.
Ball's up, but I think it's in the yard.
I think it's in the yard. It's high enough. It'll come down.
So that's one down.
The shortstop, Joe Eaton.
Gojo got a little dinger.
Joe with a home run, and he's 1 for 1 tonight.
Timeout,
1 for 1 this game anyway. Hit a home run the first time around. And Joe started off the scoring in this game, in fact. That was the...
Well, let's see what the man got, as some of my friends used to say.
We sure will.
that's
Joe,
opposite
it's
field.
well.
That's going to be dropped. Dave Daly playing him very deep in right center field. I kind of wonder about that.
Well, you know what's funny? That was Dave Daly was the right fielder.
Oh my God!
They
Didn't
gave
even
him an
notice that.
awful
You're right.
lot of line down the right field line.
That surprised me for Joe Eaton.
Now batting, the number 5 hitter, Mike Carter Jr. Absolutely, Bill. I think that's one reason why Joe went to right field. Probably he would have liked to have gotten it a little bit more down the line, but they must have given him a lot of room down that corner because that was the right fielder Dave Daly coming over to field that ball, and he was playing well off the line.
Which surprises me because Joe Eaton definitely has the reputation in the league of being opposite field hitter.
He sure does. I have the feeling that might have been a coaching breakdown, or maybe they hadn't discussed the hitters as well as they could have before the game, or that's a well-hit ball to right field now, but Dave hasn't played perfectly on that one. There's no question about it. Oh, and he throws a strike. 4. Bottom of 4.
Well, now we got to look to Mr. McNamara to provide some power.
The first baseman, Tom McNamara. We do want to apologize. Many of the players unaware of the fact that this is going to be on TV are requesting scores, and we sure don't want to cut them off and not provide an accurate score. Tommy hits it high and deep.
That may have a chance.
Carry.
Oh yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, they got a little twisted
You're
around. It didn't clear by a lot, but it was more than enough. Home run, Tom McNamara.
So with that, the score is 8-6 Doc Sox, and this
now
is
batting Bill Keane.
This is a definite ball game.
It sure is impressive. Doc Sox has come back, not necessarily with their characteristics 5 or 6 base hits, but they've answered with the big smacks.
They pulled out their big guns.
Ricky Anastasi drilling one to start off, and then after a base hit, Tom McNamara drilling one. So these guys are they're in it, and I'm glad to see it. I really am. I want to see this one go right down there. Bill Keane gets a lot of wood on that one, sending him way back to the fence.
Holy mackerel, that ball's out of here.
Home run, Bill Keane!
Oh, my goodness
gracious. This guy's pumped up. Look at Billy come around them bases. You know he wanted that one. It sure was. Right down the line, right down the line.
My goodness gracious. How about that?
Really smoked. So that's 4.
8-7.
Closes the gap to 8-7, favored Doc Sox. Here's Steve Lombell. 8. Got 7 last inning, Kenny.
Well, Gray team has just come out and flexed their muscles and said, hey, you know, you're going to have to do something to take this game. As our good friend and, well, I shouldn't call him our good friend, but as Lefty Drysdale would say, we got ourselves a bowel game.
We sure do.
Steve Lombell.
Oh, he hit that one hard.
He's got Jay back there against the wall.
Right to the fence. But I tell you, the big thing in the bottom of the 4th inning, the Brew crew comes up with 4 runs on 4 hits. So at the end of 4 innings complete, the score is Doc Sox 8 and Brew crew 7.
We'll be right back. Oh, he takes the first pitch and drives it straight into Joe Eaton's glove. So that's 1 quick down.
You sure don't hit it better than that, B, but that's the name of this game. Bang it on the button and come up empty.
Well, let's see if this turns into...
The shortstop, David Berry.
See if this turns into a boom contest here as the big guns for Doc Sox coming back.
That's
up
right.
Again.
Here come there. And David cranks up. That's going to get down.
Drop. He's playing him awful deep.
I was just going to say that. Did you see how deep they would? That was Mike Carter was playing out there. He was about a step from the fence when David was at bat. That's a lot of respect for his power.
Well,
base hit for David Berry. Here's the captain and left center fielder of Doc Sox, Jay McCall.
I'm a little surprised at the depth they're playing in because in these conditions, if they're going to hit it out, the ball is going to be out. You should, how to track yourself.
Yeah.
to the fence.
Well, you know, I think outfielders tend to be gun shy.
Oh my goodness, what a catch
Hell
by
of a
Bobby
play,
Webster.
hell of a play by the shortstop, by the pitcher Bob Webster. Just a great play. And, you know, maybe there defensively, I'm not sure whether Doug or Ray Prather might have made that play, or Kenny would have made that play. Just a great play. That ball had base hit written all over it. These guys have stung the ball hard each time.
Yes.
Now batting, Carl Anderson, the third.
See if he's got another big swing left in him here. Say goodbye to that ball. Ain't no question about that.
Home run, Carl Anderson, the third.
My goodness.
Well,
boy, that kid's impressive today.
You asked the question, Bill. Will Doc Sox answer what the Brew Crew did last inning? And they made the announcement right here. They've answered it. They've answered it loud and clear. Carl Anderson drilling one again, no doubt about that.
You better be thinking about that guy for tournament MVP. I'm telling you right now.
Well, I will say this, that you have to really also question our technical advisor and cameraman, Mr. Buchanan, just pointed out that Carl Anderson III is not on the All-Star team. Now batting, the third baseman.
That ball's back to the fence. Whoa, circus catch. That brings him down.
Wayne Matheson. Sorry, Wayne.
Well, it's true that Carl Anderson is not going to appear on the Men's League All-Star ballot, but he will be on the roster of another team that is entered in that tournament. So we're going to see the young man play here during the Brewer Knights Invitational Tournament.
And at the end of 4.5, B, it's a 10-7 game, back to a 3-run lead. The Brew Crew would get it down to 1, but it's back to 3. The Brew Crew, interestingly now, this is where they've got to do something. We've got 3 innings to go. They're coming up with Steve Lumbell, Donnie Mitchell, and Ray Prather. This is where they'd like to get some runs because, you know, next inning they will have that top of the order. They want to try and get those guys up 2 more times this game, and if they can do that, they've got an excellent chance. If they can't, they're going to be in some serious problems.
Okay, we'll be right back.
The 4.5 innings. The score: Doc Sox 10, Brew Crew 7.
Certainly makes that look easy, doesn't he?
He sure does. He sure does. Who was that? Donnie Mitchell led the inning off. Now batting for the Brew Crew, Ray Prather.
It's like you said, Eddie, though, they got to go here. You know, you just... And there's a shot. Oh, Brock. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, you're exactly right. I was just going to say the same thing. Maybe a play of the game. Tough chance back to the pitcher. John Heiser having no chance to field it. Jim Brocca with nothing but a spectacular play over the first, making it look routine. The guy is really a gamer. For the Brew Crew, the catcher, Russell Grimes. Yeah, Jimmy Brocca having a great game, hitting the ball well with authority. And Russell hits the ball well. Played him perfectly, though.
Go ahead and announce the
Score?
score.
The score at the end of 5 complete innings. Doc Sox 10, Brew Crew 7. Now back. Sox, the right fielder, Dave Daly.
Dave, oh, no. So Dave, while hitting the ball on the nose, lines it right back to Bobby Webster. So the first leadoff batter of Doc Sox in the top of the sixth inning is sitting down rather quickly.
Now batting, Mike Carter Sr. Bobby Webster coming in despite the fact that he gave up a couple of home runs last inning, doing a good job out there, making a couple of defensive plays. And I think these guys seem to be playing with a little more enthusiasm. I think we're going right down to the wire with this one, Bill.
Yeah, you can't let this green lineup die out in the middle either. I tell
No.
you, they can't go to sleep.
You sure can't. And let me tell you this: they've got
There's
a base hit that they need, and Mike with a solid shot. They've got 2, 3, 4 more players before they get to the top of the order, so they definitely would like to get the top of the order up in the 7th inning if they can. That's one of the big games. You want to get your guns up there.
Mm-hmm. Or do we forget the U.S. Triple?
Now batting for Doc Sox, jumping Jim Weisgerber.
Now back Hoke. It's 2 down. Oh, that could be down. That's going to drop in.
Yeah, rolling. That's rolling stroke. He
so
hit the ball just the way he likes to
Yes,
hit the ball.
that is a very typical Roland Hoke.
It sure is. And when he's got that thing going right, he's a 4 for 4, 5 for 5 hitter. Now batting for Doc Sox, the second baseman, Jim Brocker. What's that?
It's 8-7, isn't it?
10-7. 10-7. 10-7.
10-7.
They got 2 last inning.
That's right. 10-7. Now let's see if Brock can move these guys around a little bit. They got runners at first and second. Dave Daly reaching.
Well, we have 2 out.
2 out.
But Jimmy's hitting the ball well, and on deck we have John Heiser naturally. And right behind John is the top of the order. So potentially this could turn out to be a big inning. This is really important right here that the Brew Crew shuts them off. They can't get much further behind than they are. They've only got 2 more at bats, and they just have to be.
They certainly want to get this guy.
It's going to be a tough chance. That's going to be a tough chance. That's more than a tough chance.
Boy, that was close.
They're going to give him a base hit on that.
Very tough play to make.
It's one of those shots where if you go out and place it, that'll be ruled a base hit. Now batting for Doc Sox, the pitcher, John Heiser.
I know Bobby Webster was wanting to get by it, I mean, not quite get to this part of the lineup, so now they're bringing Heiser up as a dangerous hitter, can go anywhere.
Bases loaded.
Bases loaded.
If Heiser delivers here, we're probably talking about 2 runs, and then the top of the order coming up. And this, is exactly what they didn't want. This is going to be not only a big inning, but then that's going to guarantee that the power part of this lineup comes up next inning.
Oh, my goodness. If that's in fair play.
No, it's got to be fine.
I tell you, but see, that
Just
points
missed.
out why they're dangerous right here, because these young outfielders who don't have that much experience in the league don't know how to play these guys like Heiser and Tully. And then once you get through Tully, then it's back to the dinger parade.
Exactly.
And you never know what's going to happen at that point.
Well, you're right. You're so right, Bill. You have these guys that can hit the ball all over the field. They can go down the right field line. Paul Tully showed us with his triple earlier in the game. John Heiser's shown it time after time. And then after you get rid of these guys that can cute you to death, you get these guys that just bludgeon you to death. I mean, they boom, boom, boom. And this is a tough lineup to have to face.
Oh boy, he got under that. That could hurt him.
high.
Oh, that hurts him. Not the hit you wanted there.
No, it sure wasn't. But despite the fact that they don't score any runs, and it's still 10-8, what they do wind up is in the 7th. bringing up the top of the order, and with the top of the order, which has been so productive for them throughout the game. Going into the bottom of the 6th inning, the score is Dock Sox 10, Brew Crew 7. In the 6th inning, in the bottom of the 6th for Brew Crew, we'll have Doug Green, followed by Bob Webster and Rick Anastasi. So, just as we were mentioning the top of the order for Dock Sox, this is where we're going to see the most effective part of the Brew Crew order. We've got Doug Green going to hit. Doug, a fine base hit specialist that hits the ball down, hits the ball low. And then here's the top of the order with Bobby Webster, Ricky Anastasi, who yanked one out, Kenny Moltz, who's so dangerous, and naturally Joe Eaton, who's also pop.
I think that Doug Green could be a good indicator of the fortunes of the Brew Crew. Hit it on the ground and get on, obviously looks good, but get one of these little pop-ups that can happen so often,
So right.
could be trouble.
I think that's a very perceptive point, Bill.
Because,
The one out, in this situation becomes a big factor.
Yeah.
What the difference between a man on second with 1 out or a man on second with 2 out really is a major
That's
factor.
what I'm talking about. You got to get this leadoff man on and then not feel the pressure of
Sure
trying to
do.
move him around.
Sure do.
And
also,
he's looking to hit something here.
Sure is. I tell you, I think Bob Webster's a much more effective hitter when you have people on base in front of him, simply because Bobby has such good bat control, and he can hit the ball to right field, hit it behind the runner. He'll move him around. Makes it look easy.
So Doug hits it down, but still doesn't get on. So we've got one down, and that brings up Bobby Webster to the top of the lineup.
Brew Crew, the left center fielder and captain, Bob Webster. Well, we'll find out here. I really believe that the next couple of batters are going to indicate the way this game is going. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ron just mentioned...
our cameraman venturing into the analytical side of the production.
Well, and doing a very good job
I
at
agree,
it, too.
and he's totally wrong, but that's beside the point. He pulls the ball down the left field side, but nonetheless, a nice shot by Bobby Webster. And Ron, we were agreeing with you.
While you may say he was wrong, I think maybe one of the reasons he went to left field was the fact that Dave had played him well around to right and took the line away from him.
You're right, but
now batting the number 2 hitter, the third baseman, Rick Anastasi.
He's such a mysterious batter. Ball's hit high. Jay's right under that. So that's Ricky Anastasi flies out. We have no men on. No, we have Bobby Webster on first and Kenny Moltz up to bat.
For the Brew Crew, left fielder, Ken Moltz. Kenny having a good year, having a good tournament. 0 for 2 tonight, 0 for 2 in the second game anyway.
Yeah, he's got to do something
He's
here.
hit the ball hard.
Yeah.
And this is a spot where they need him. They really do. Joe Eaton on deck. If Ken can drive one here, got a good chance of picking up 1 or 2, and that's what they got to do.
Wins in his favor. Maybe he could just launch one out of here.
And he has. He has surprisingly over the last 2 or 3 years developed into a real power hitter. He's changed from a singles hitter. Kenny's showing good patience up there. He's just going to make Hazard throw him a strike.
There it is.
Hazard does.
Kenny takes calls straight too, putting a little pressure on himself.
Well, you're right, but I think in this situation, and thinking base runners, they want to get that front runner. And I think that pitch might have been a little high. And
Whoa,
David.
Now I got to.
Oh, I want to. Well, you know,
I'll
tell
you.
you.
A little bit.
I think we're going to have to give the shortstop an error on that one. The reason he didn't go to second base was because of Bob Webster's speed down there. Well, no, I think the reason he didn't go was Bob Webster's speed. He wasn't going to take a chance on missing the force play at. Now batting the cleanup hitter, Joe Eaton. He didn't want to miss the. Yes, we are.
Well, he's certainly making a difficult play for himself by going.
Well, it was a tough chance. It really was. They possibly had to force it second, but like again, Bob Webster's speed getting down there forced David into having to go to first base. I don't think that was his first choice. Kenny with real good speed getting down the line. Still, it couldn't. That's too high.
That's in the yard. Paul Tully will make this routine.
Routine is right. And boy, would not another home run in that situation really have done something dramatic out there.
Would have tied the ball.
It sure would have. It sure would have. But not enough. A little power shortage out there. And at the end of 6 full innings, we're still locked at 10-7. Nobody scored in that last one. At the end of 6 innings complete, Docs Sox 10, Brew Crew 7. Coming to bat for Doc Sox, Paul Tully, David Berry, and Jay McCall.
You're watching the coach.
Well,
Let's
see if Brew Crew can stay on their toes and defensively just contain this team. They've still got another chance to get back in this thing.
Well, you got to look at who we're going to see next inning. We're going to see Mike Carter Jr., Tom McNamara, Bill Keane, Steve Bell. Now they're looking at 3 runs, so they've got to go a couple of guys below that or beyond that.
I think they can.
Which is going to bring Donnie Mitchell, Ray Prather, and Russell Grimes into play. And you and I both know, though, Bill, so often these things are.
Paul Tully drives that ball. That's a tweener. Back
and
to the
Tully
fence.
again showing his versatility, going to the fence in left field.
Besides this.
And he's going to third.
Well, Paul Tully. Beautiful hit by Paul Tully. Beautiful.
Now batting the shortstop, David Berry. Yeah, Paul Tully's credited with a double on that and an error on the throw in from left center field. But once again, Tully showing great versatility, getting a triple down the right field line early, getting a couple of base hits up the middle, taking it with power into the left center field. Oh, David Berry
Nice
hit
shot.
that. Boy, you don't hit it better than that. A rocket. Oh, and he's going to second easily. Boy, I'll tell you. You talk about not only speed, but this guy's got talent. You talk about speed and determination. I think he was 2 steps before first base when he made up his mind he was going. He never hesitated. He knew he had it. Didn't even have to slide.
I think he's been signed up for the correspondence course to the Tom Love School of Base Running.
Now batting the left center fielder, Jay McCall.
Which is simply you snooze, you lose.
Well, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
We got a good candidate for one. Well, it's kind of a toss-up, though.
I like David.
Good point there.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Put a little interest in it.
That ball is gone. There's no question about it.
Goodbye. Lights out. Jay McCall, home run.
Well, you know, we're discussing MVP here up in the booth. I tell you, there's so many candidates. It's going to be awfully
It sure is.
hard.
It sure is. And I think that unfortunately, each of us, I'm sure you develop something about one player that you like as opposed to another. It really is hard to decide because these guys have played so well. Again, you got to remember these guys have played 3 games. They had to win them all. A loss in any one of 3 games would have eliminated Doc Sox. And these guys have come through and come through and come through, and just awesome.
Carl Anderson the third up again, and he's been hitting the ball extremely well, as I guess you've seen if you've been watching the broadcast.
Yeah, Carl really cranking up and driving the ball, doing a great job for these guys. Very underrated ball player, I think. I don't think he got the respect that he probably deserved in the draft. Part of that naturally being the youngest son of a used to be famous ball player, Carl Anderson II.
Well,
Who's,
he
hit that one hard.
Yes,
He hit that one hard, but not really where he wanted. I think he had 4 bases on his mind when he drilled that ball.
Carl Anderson is still in his early years in the league, but I think after this year, he's going to get all the respect that he could possibly. You cannot hide that young man any longer.
Now batting, the third baseman, Wayne Matheson. Now Wayne, either nobody's told him his hat is on backwards, or at least he intended it to be that way. I'm not sure.
Wayne can do anything he wants today. I mean, let's face facts.
Maybe that's right. This boy is blessed.
Well, that's not
it's
quite
gonna
going to
stay
make
up,
it,
I
I don't think. Holy mackerel! But,
Oh, I think Kenny caught that one twice. Wayne really driving that ball, but unfortunately, Ken Moltz with a really outstanding catch out there. He went a long way for that one, Bill.
Sure did. Dave Daly's coming up to bat. Carl Anderson advances the second on that play.
Now batting the right fielder, Dave Daly.
I think Dave Daly's had a good series. Has been playing. Not many people think of Dave in terms of softball. He's only been in the league 2 years as far as softball is concerned. Plays a lot of basketball with us.
Excellent series, excellent ball player. I tell you, very underrated play. Does a lot of fundamental things right. Hits the ball hard all the time. Doesn't make mistakes. You know, and sometimes those things may not show up on it. And hits that one well, but they've got him played just about right. And good hustle again by Carl, tagging. But Dave is a solid ball player, fundamentally very sound, and does a good job. If he moves the runner up from second to third, is Mike Carter Sr.
Mm-hmm.
Now batting for Doc Sox, Mike Carter Sr.
It's a lull falls over the crowd. I'm not going to sleep during this game, but they just continue to pour it on. We got 2 down. Carl Anderson at third, and Mike Carter Sr. up to bat. And on deck, Jim Weisgerber. Kenny may make a play on this. Good play. Oh yeah.
Let me tell you, Kenny Moltz with 2 outstanding plays that inning, going all the way back to the fence to grab that one, struck by Wayne, and now that great play down the line. So Kenny doing a good job out there. Holds him to 3 runs. That's maybe not the best defensive shot you'd like, but certainly cutting them off after they get 3 is not a bad move. But we're going into bottom of the 7th inning, and it's 13-7, and the middle of the order, Mike Carter Jr. coming up for the Brew Crew.
So they're right back in the same situation
At the end of 6.5 innings, the score is Doc Sox 13, Brew Crew 7.
I think the Brew Crew finds himself in the same position as they were last game.
Big problem.
They got the hammer this time, but I mean,
we're looking at
that's a lot of
6 runs, and they've only got 3 outs. They've got to get hitters on. They've got to get people on base. Leading off for the Brew Crew, Mike Carter Jr.
it's very.
Those guys are hitting the shit out of him. Trouble.
Carl Anderson's got that one.
1 down. And the batter will be Tom McNamara. Well, let's get a couple of people in on this. We don't want.
Well, we'll get time.
Well, I'll tell you, these guys, the Brew crew is just getting closer and closer to the end. Here's Tommy McNamara, Bill Keane, Steve Lombell, all good hitters, but you know it's just such a tall mountain to climb, Bill. You know when you get down that many, it's psychologically it plays on your mind. You don't think of getting a base hit, you want to get it all. But Tommy hits the ball well. That's it. Oh, Tully, and he shows almost all of it to us after he catches it. That's Paul Tully.
Maybe.
You know, very reminiscent of a fly ball that Tully caught last year, which you probably well remember, which everybody, including Paul Dorsey, looked for in Dorsey's glove, and about later Tully came up with it and showed it to everybody.
I tell you, Jay's,
Now batting for the Brew crew, Bill Keane.
Jay's 1 out away from getting
He
that
sure is.
championship that he's been after for so
And
long.
you know he's just panting for it. He really is. And here's Bill Keane. This is one of the toughest outs in the league, though, I'll tell you. Yeah, this is not a guy that's going to give up for sure. Billy's not. I don't care what the score is. He's up there. You know he's going to want to hit the ball hard.
Well,
And he's also willing to wait. And I think that's a mark of a good ball player. Oh, he hits
good
a
hit.
rope. He hits a rope. That's just the way you want to hit the ball. Base hit for Bill Keane. Bill Keane having
So
a real good series.
they
He
prolong
really is.
it for another round.
Well, yeah, but you know, as long I think at this point, sometimes what you got to say is, I'm just not going to be the guy to end it. And if you can get 7 or 8 guys in a row to say that, you're back in the ball game. I know what you're saying.
Sort of a matter of time type situation, I think,
But you don't
let's
ever
wait
want
and
to
see.
quit on it.
No,
Bill,
you know, not at all.
You
Nobody's
spend all this
gonna
time, 130 grown men, and that's going to be it. Jay
Yeah,
McCall
Jay,
settling. How
wow.
fitting. It's Jay McCall's ball.
There it
Captain
is.
Jay McCall pulls in that last fly ball. And that's it. We're going to wrap it up here, I'm sure. The final score is going to be Doc Sox 13, Brew Crew 7. A great end to a great series. I hope the camera has these guys shaking hands. Bill?
Eddie, it certainly was a good series. We saw a lot of action, a lot of offensive firepower, I think, and with the new facilities and everything, it was just a joy to be out here and see this championship series. We're going to come right back in just a few minutes with a presentation of the championship cup and the closing ceremonies. So stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Mike Carter Jr., Joe Eaton, Kenny Morris, Rick Anastasi, and the captain of the Brew Crew, Bob Webster. Congratulations on a good year, guys.